Okay, I'm continuing my reading here, and what I'm doing in this series is read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around just a little bit as I move along. However, the time period I'm reading in right now is fairly linear in the scriptures, so I am back in Deuteronomy, and this is chapter 11. Thou shalt love and obey the Lord thy God. If Israel obeys, they shall be blessed with rain and harvests and drive out many nations. Israel must learn God's laws and teach them. Blessings flow from obedience, cursings attend disobedience. Again, more review, see if we get any new information. Therefore, thou shalt love the Lord thy God and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. And know ye this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known, and which have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles, and his acts which he did in the midst of Egypt unto Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and unto all his land, and what he did unto the army of Egypt, unto their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how the Lord hath destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness until ye came into this place, and what he did unto Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses and their tents and all their substance that was in their possession, in the midst of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of the Lord, which ye did. Therefore shall ye keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that ye may be strong, and go in and possess the land whither ye go to possess it. Okay, so again, remember that the 40 years in the wilderness, all those who died were 20 years and older. So those who were only 10 years are now 50, because it's been 40 years. Those who are, say, as young as 5 years old would still have some memory of these happenings. Remember, the event of Dathan and Abiram happened 2 years after leaving, so that was only 38 years ago, not 40. But he's talking to those who are now 45 to 60 years old. That's the age range that he's talking to, and he's telling these guys, you need to remember this stuff, you need to keep the commandments, and you need to make sure that the rest of the nation keeps the commandments. Verse 10, for the land whither thou goest in to possess it is not as the land of Egypt, from whence ye came out, where thou sowest thy seed, and waterest it with thy foot, as a garden of herbs. But the land whither ye go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh water of the rain of heaven, a land which the Lord thy God careth for. The eyes of the Lord thy God are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. So, comparing the climate and everything of Canaan to Egypt. Egypt is very much a desert place, and you had to actively cultivate any crops that you were growing. But the land of Canaan is not so. It is constantly being watered, had a lot of rain, a lot of hills and valleys, so that the other is drinketh water, waterest it with thy foot. This is talking about the being a plain area. There's not a lot of hills and stuff. So in Canaan, you can build your cities on the hill and then cultivate the plains and the valleys, and you have them two separated. Verse 13. And it shall come to pass, if ye shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn, and thy wine, and thine oil, And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou mayest eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord giveth you. So if you keep the commandments, then the seasons will continue. You will get the rain when it's supposed to come. Have good harvests. If you don't, we're going to shut off the water. I like that. This is looking forward to the time of Elijah, where Elijah caused a drought for 3.5 years. Anyways, verse 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thine house and upon thy gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. So we're getting a repetition of this command of the phylacteries bound on the arms and hand and head, and on the doorposts and in the gates. I did remember when it says the gates, this isn't really talking about the gate around a personal property. This is talking about the gates of the cities. So it's not just on your own personal house that you're supposed to be putting this. It's supposed to be on the cities. The cities should have these reminders. It's like in the modern day, people putting the 10 Commandments on the town hall. That would be the same kind of thing that we're talking about here. Verse 22. For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea, all your coast shall your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, for the Lord your God shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon all the land that ye shall tread upon, as he hath said unto you. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing, if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day, and a curse, if ye will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which ye have not known. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord thy God hath brought thee in unto the land whither thou goest to possess it, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim, and the curse upon Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side Jordan, by the way where the sun goeth down, in the land of the Canaanites, which dwell in the campaign over against Gilgal, beside the plains of Moreh? Interesting. In the campaign over against Gilgal, it says the alternate Hebrew translation is Araba, or desert descent. And the word plains gives alternate Hebrew translation of oaks. So, anyways, last two verses. Verse 31. For ye shall pass over Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God giveth you, and ye shall possess it and dwell therein. And ye shall observe to do all the statutes and judgments which I set before you this day. Now, I do want to go back just a moment there. It doesn't really say. So, blessing, they will drive out the other nations, they will conquer the land. Cursings if they don't obey. Now, I like this idea that you put the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the cursing upon Mount Ebal. I don't think this is talking about cursing the mountains themselves, but putting up a memorial on these two mountains that face each other. So let's see. Yeah. Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim are two peaks in the mountain range that are almost halfway between the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee. And they're on the west side of Jordan. And they're like the two tallest peaks in the area. And so he's saying put up a memorial on these two peaks so that you remember that if you are faithful, you will be blessed. If you are disobedient, you will be cursed. Put up this memorial as a remembrance. Anyways, it's an interesting one. Not a whole lot of new information, just more blessings and cursings, and just really repeating the same blessings and cursings of other chapters. So I will see you in the next one.